Aloha and good afternoon. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, joining you from the Breaking News Show in Honolulu. With me, as always, is Dr. Peter Talo. He is in College Station, Texas, where he tells me everything is free. And the weather here, Peter, the weather is free in Hawaii, and that's about the only thing what's free here. It's nice and sunny today, so I don't know how things are in College Station, Texas.
It was beautiful today in College Station. And if you need a PCR test or a antigen test here for COVID, they're in front of most of the restaurants and you get it easily, and we're not paying anything for it. And I just had my fourth shot for the vaccination. And again, I didn't pay anything for it. So, and I got it at the supermarket while I was shopping.
Well, that's yeah, you can get it in supermarkets too. The problem here is, if you wanted to get, I'm going to the Philippines, I'll be attending the World Travel and Tourism Council Summit next week. So anyone who's at the summit, say hello. But we need to get a test. Doesn't have to be a PCR test, can be a regular antigen test you can get for free in Texas. You also get for free literally everywhere in Europe, or maybe you pay €5. Where here, they want $99 for it. Plus, in some cases, you have to pay a membership if you're a tourist. If you're not a tourist, I guess you can save the membership. But in these tests, really, Peter, they don't cost more than $5. So I don't know
I think
how they get away with this.
Is ripping people off.
Yeah.
But I remember when I worked in Hawaii, the taxes in Hawaii are insane. And I was so happy to get back to Texas because we don't have an income tax here. And our land taxes are frozen when we're 65. And it's a lot simpler for us. I just noticed everything is expensive in Hawaii. I mean, we're complaining, we're furious that gas is $3.70 a gallon. And I'm sure in Hawaii, you guys would be jumping for joy.
Bargain.
But I guess the thing is that people in Hawaii are very rich and they can afford these exorbitant prices. And good luck. I wish you all well. I don't know why anybody stays here, but I know the weather is nice. And it is beautiful. I will admit, Hawaii is a wonderful place to visit for about a week. And then it's time to leave. Anyway, this is a special weekend, though. So I think we shouldn't talk about the negative. We should talk about the positive. Because this is one of the rare occasions when the Muslim world is celebrating Ramadan this weekend. They've been celebrating it, but it's certainly celebrating this weekend. Friday night, begins the Jewish holiday of Passover. And of course, Friday for Christians is Good Friday, and then moving on to Sunday to Easter. So all three monotheistic religions, or better really stated, Abraham-oriented religions from Abraham, all three religions are celebrating one of their main holidays. In the Muslim world, Ramadan is certainly probably the most important holiday. In the Christian world, the concept from Good Friday to Easter is really the essence of Christianity, and it's much more important religiously than Christmas. And in the Jewish world, though it's not our high holiday, Passover really is the essence of who we are. If it had not been for Passover, we would be slaves. And so the whole concept of freedom and liberty is there. And I think we could not so much speak about maybe the religious aspects of each one of them, but the fact that they're coming together is kind of symbolic on the fact that tourism should be bringing people together.
Yeah, and we shouldn't leave out, I mean, in the Christian, like in the Orthodox Church, this holiday, I believe, is a week later, right? So it still goes on. This is an entire weekend in the Muslim world. It also goes for a long time.
Yeah, and a week later in the Orthodox Church comes at the end of the Passover celebration. So it overlaps again, because Passover goes on for 8 days. Now, in the Catholic world, they've been having Holy Week. So that was from last Sunday, Palm Sunday, until this Sunday. So they're also on a 7-day system, where ours is a 7-day system. But if you live outside of the land of Israel, you pay an extra day. It's kind of like a fine for living outside of Israel. So for Jews outside of Israel, it's 8 days. For Jews inside of Israel, it's 7 days. But the important thing is, how do we all come together? How do we use tourism, just like this? Religion should be a methodology to bring people together. Tourism should be a methodology to bring people together. It isn't always, but it should be. And the question is, how do we make it the reality, live according to the principle, live according to the dream?
Well,
And
I
that,
mean, if you look at some areas like in Europe, it's a holiday. There are two holidays, Friday and Monday in many countries. There's holidays in other parts of the world. I'm not sure, but I think there's probably a holiday weekend in Israel
yes,
as well.
uh,
And people travel because it's always one of the main seasons for travel. That's when people have the time. They can take on off a week or a long weekend. And I know from the time when I grew up in Germany, there was always an Easter holiday in school for 2 weeks. And so it was a major time to travel and explore the world and explore other people. And that,
well,
of course, contributes to peace.
it could. Now, there's another side of that. It could also contribute not to peace. And how would that happen? Well, if we just go someplace, we stay in a resort where we don't really speak to anybody except the servants, the people cleaning the rooms or the people serving us at the restaurants, then and we don't ever interact with them, then on some levels we're probably breeding resentments. But if we travel and we actually take the time to learn about the place we're going, we take the time to interact with people, we take the time to get to understand their problems and vice versa, then we are contributing to peace. So there's two sides to it. And I think that's also true of religion. Religion can be used to separate. Certainly in the Jewish world, the time around Easter was the scariest time at all, because this is when Christians like to murder us. And certainly for most of European history, this was the most dangerous period of the year. And literally tens of thousands of Jews were murdered because of the holidays around Easter. I'm not saying that's today, but I am saying that certainly that is the tradition. Matter of fact, in Germany, the saying was to make the river Rhine run red with Jewish blood. And that goes all the way back to the 12th century. So it could be seen from that perspective as a very dangerous time. On the other hand, we could see these three holidays coming together as kind of like a strange coalition of a time where we could learn from each other, we can celebrate each other, we can try to understand each other, we can try to understand each other's history, and that's really part of tourism. So tourism can be an instrument for good or an instrument for bad. Religion can be an instrument for good, and sometimes it's been an instrument for bad. So I think, in both ways, this is a really special weekend and a really good time in a divided world. I mean, this is we live in a very difficult time. We just got over COVID. We have a war going on in the Ukraine, which may very well expand to other parts of Europe. We have the tremendous potential of a war in the Pacific, which looks more and more like it's going to happen. There's even the potential of North Korea talking about long-range missiles that would certainly strike Hawaii. And so that's really dangerous. On the other hand, this is a time really, if we come together and appreciate each other and learn to stop looking at what divides us, but rather looking at what unites us, then that could be this could be a wonderful weekend as a launching pad for peace. And I think that's something that the tourism industry could offer the world, healing after a period of tremendous misery.
Yeah, and of course, unfortunately, the misery is ongoing, so it makes it a little bit harder, but it makes people remember about whatever their religion is, about the good in the religion. And definitely, we don't want the Rhine River to turn red. I grew up on the Rhine River, and it's a wonderful place to visit. I didn't see any
No, it hasn't been
red in the Rhine River.
I don't believe that you were there in the 12th century.
Okay, I wasn't there in the 12th century.
I don't think you were there even in the 18th century. But on the other hand, it's only 70 years ago that the river could have been running blood because of Hitler.
Yes.
And, again, I think the real tragedy, if you look at Europe, is that since 1948, we've had or since let's look since World War I, which is really 1917, 1914 to 1918, you've had just over 100 years, World War I, World War II. We've had the terrible, really terrible war that took place in the Balkans and now in Ukraine. 4 wars in 100 years. That's kind of like a 100-year war. And we don't
And
really,
it's not good. And we forget some of the wars that have been going on. If you look in Ukraine, in the Donbas region, that has been going on for 8 years and no one really talks about. So many people
no,
get killed. And it was quiet. Now it becomes the center of the world because everything is exploding around it. Look at Myanmar, look at China. You know, there are so many hotspots in the world, and religion reminds hopefully everyone during such holidays, whether it's Easter or the Thai celebrate their New Year, for example, in the Buddhism religion, what is a big fun holiday. I always actually liked the New Year's celebration in Thailand. I've been there many times. People have water guns and they're spraying water guns at each other. I've seen during the time when they had the red and I think red and white or red and blue shirt people fighting in a civil war type setting in Bangkok. I happened to be there. It was a very dangerous times. We had travel warnings to leave Bangkok. I was there, I never really felt threatened. When I was there during the Songkran, what is their Thai New Year, I saw the soldiers that had machine gun. They also had water pistols and were shooting at people, and the locals were shooting back at the soldiers. So for a few hours, they forgot about all these conflicts. And next day they could continue with the real guns, I guess. But religion is always something good. Really, it doesn't really make any difference what religious.
no, if you actually live the religion in the concept of love. By the way, just so you know, if you can't get to Thailand, in Aggie Land, in which is Texas A&M, which we call Aggie Land, there is a tradition called the Elephant Walk, and it takes place in I think April or May, and not only do we have elephants on campus wandering around, but everybody gets a water pistol, and all the freshmen and sophomores and juniors shoot the seniors with a water pistol, not with real bullets, just with water. And according to Aggie tradition, that makes you as dead as an elephant. So if you can't get to Thailand and you want to see a water pistol fight, just before Elephant Walk, every water pistol within 100 miles of College Station has been bought, because this is the time when you have elephants on campus and water pistols, not bullets. I want to make that clear, not guns, just water pistols. But people have a wonderful time, and it's much, for many people, it's less expensive to come to Texas than it is to come to Thailand. And that joins us with the people of Thailand.
And of course, you can get your free COVID test to make sure
Yes,
you're safe.
but if you're an American, you don't need a COVID test, so you're okay.
No, not need, but I mean, it's this is the, you know, the subject here. If you're talking about needing masks, needing this, it's not what really the law says or what CDC might tell you or any other health authority tell you. It's common sense, and we all have to have and not lose our own common sense.
Yes,
The government, they can give you recommendations, but really the final decision is with everyone else.
Yes, it should be. Although, as you know, the CDC today postponed again until May the fact that we are wearing masks on airplanes.
Yeah, I support that. It's fine. It's okay with me.
Every what do you call it? Every president of every airline has complained about it. It's created terrible problems for the flight attendants. And the bottom line is, I can go to a restaurant and I don't have to wear a mask. And I can go on a flight though for 1 hour and I do have to wear a mask. And by the way, they don't care if you use a cloth mask. It can be any type, just anything. So that really doesn't make a lot of scientific sense. And here in Texas, we're illegal immigrants, and we may be up to 18,000 in a few weeks a day. They don't need to have a COVID test, and they don't need to wear a mask. But if you get on an airplane, ironically, if you come into the United States legally, you need a mask. If you come in illegally, you don't need a mask. So
of course, if you rob a bank, you know, no one asks you about if you wear a mask. I understand that, but I mean, if you really look at the aviation situation, when you go on an airplane, you're forced to be in a room with God knows how many people.
When you
So
have
it doesn't give you the right, no one knows if the next person has a cold or COVID or anything else. I don't feel threatened by the mask mandate. In a restaurant, it's a different story because you can make a decision whether you want to go into this restaurant or not.
and I can make a decision if I want to go on an airplane.
I know, but yeah, I mean, if you live in Hawaii, for example, you couldn't go
most of the
anywhere
world-
without on an airplane.
But you guys also believe that airplanes create global warming and you want to get rid of all airplanes. Your senator has already spoken about the fact that no one should be allowed to travel to Hawaii on an airplane. I heard her say it. So therefore,
I haven't heard that, Peter. I think this would have made the news, so I don't know where you get your news from.
I heard her give a speech in which one of the reporters said, well, ma'am, then how will anybody get to Hawaii? And she said, I don't know. And I guess the way to get to Hawaii is you should go by canoe. So because she is against airplanes, and in which case no one should go to Hawaii, and which would maybe make your tourism industry happy, because I think your Hawaii Visit Authority is not really pushing Hawaiian tourism.
No, they're doing the opposite, unfortunately. They don't really, they're one tourist. They're only one of few tourists that pay all the bills. And the rest, they can really stay home. We don't need that.
Maybe the miracle of Hawaii is that you're going to maintain a tourism industry without people. And this will be another one of the wonderful miracles.
If you can do that, I'm sure you're going to have some takers here.
And I can't. But I think that this is maybe a religious concept. In other words, that there's a new religion, the Hawaiian religion. And in this religion, you think your way to Hawaii, or you just flap your hands and you end up in Hawaii without a plane.
All right, Peter. So
right.
I know.
Well, but anyway, I think this is what's really important. This is a weekend where we're all coming together. And maybe if we can find the chance to see the commonality within human beings. There's a beautiful Jewish story, maybe this is that way to end, which is the question is, why did God make only one person? Why did Adam? Actually, Adam in Hebrew doesn't mean Mr. Adam, it just means a human prototype. But why do we have only one person? And the answer was so that nobody could say, my relative was here before yours. And according to tradition, what color was Adam? And Adam was made of every color of the planet Earth, so that no one could ever say, my color is superior to yours. That we're all part of a giant cousins club, part of the human race, and we're all children of Adam, and we all should learn to function as one giant family instead of clobbering each other over the head. And if we can get to that point, then I think we in the tourism industry have a lot to give the world.
Well, wouldn't that be nice, Peter? And unfortunately, so far this world hasn't worked like this, but there's always hope.
Yep, and maybe this is the week when things come together. We have Easter, Ramadan, and Passover all coming together in the same holiday, in the same weekend. Why don't we make this a weekend of peace, a weekend of love, a weekend of caring, and a weekend when we can get to know each other and travel around the world freely, happily, and with a smile on our face.
That sounds like a plan. Well, thank you very much, Peter. And thank you everyone for watching. If you wanted to watch this show again or any of our other shows, just go to breakingnewsshow.com and you can find us there. And or you can, of course, click on YouTube and see us also on YouTube. Well, thank you for joining. Happy Easter and
happy Passover.
Happy Passover, happy Songkran, and whatever else is out there. And happy Ramadan.
And a blessed Ramadan. So Chag Sameach, happy Passover, a happy Easter, a blessed Ramadan. And if we missed anybody, we're sorry, but have a happy celebration no matter what your religion is.
Aloha.
Bye-bye. Shaloha. Bye-bye.
I am Ukraine. I wanted to tell you about myself so we could get to know each other better. On a warm summer day on August 24th, 1991, I was born. I'm I'm only 30, but my roots are strong, extending deep into history. My ancestors were wise and brave and instilled in me a rich culture that shaped who I am. I have my own language, my own traditions, my own cuisine. I have seas and meadows, rivers, deserts, fields, and forests. I am a beautiful woman. And my children are strong, brave, talented, smart, witty, creative, friendly, and free in spirit. I am proud of them, just as every mother is proud of her children. Proud of their inventions, their achievements, their creativity, and their diligence. Yes, I have more than 40 million of them, and like in every large family, they do not always find a common language, but our happy moments always outweighed the bad. All my years have cultivated in them a love for freedom and a desire to be free. But now, war has fallen on my family. Forces are trying to destroy me and my children's freedom, to crush it forever. As in past generations, we faced severe trials. Dark times have fallen upon us again, and my children are forced to protect us, their homes and their families, which they do skillfully despite the difficulties, because we are a real family, united together, supporting each other with our bravery and strength. Today, we fight, but we're not afraid. That's not how we were raised. We will stand, I know it. My wounds will heal, and my children will live peaceful lives once more. My name is Ukraine, and I thank you, world, for your support. We will persevere, and when this is all behind us, I'll invite you for a visit. See you soon.